Good morning and welcome to Legends Community Focus right here on Legends 100.3. Mike McGann with you, as I always am, every single South Florida Sunday to talk about topics that are of interest to you, whether we talk about health or whether we talk about science or whether we talk about art. Legends Radio loves the arts. We know that you love the arts too. And Palm Beach County is rapidly becoming, I shouldn't even say becoming because it's already been this way, it's rapidly increasing its reputation as a cultural hub when it comes to the arts. And one of the areas that has really been expanding so rapidly is downtown Lake Worth. It's a great place to go and hang out. I was just there a couple of weeks ago checking out the art galleries. There's a lot of great food there. It's a really fun and interesting artistic atmosphere. And the expansion there has been really something to see, especially for someone who's grown up in this area. The Lake Worth Playhouse has really been making a name for itself, even more than it had before. Moving forward, some great vision from the new artistic director there. His name is Daniel, and we're going to be chatting with him in just a moment. There's an upcoming production of Oliver that it is just going to be a fantastic show. Oliver is a classic show already, and I've got some cast members here this morning who got up nice and early, which I know they're not used to doing. I've done plenty of acting in my time, and I can tell you that this is not a natural time for anyone involved in this industry to be awake. But they're here, there's a nice spread of food, and we are going to talk about what theater means to them, why we preserve it, and there's kind of a special surprise. There's another voice that you hear on Legends Radio occasionally, here in the studio with me, and that's Mr. Steve Feldman, who is an account executive with Legends and is actually playing the role of Mr. Bumble in Oliver.
Yes.
Yes, it's good to, well, I see you a lot, but it's nice to see you this early, Steve.
Yes. I've been bumbling through my life all these years. I figured I might as well bring it to the stage.
And this is not new. This is Steve Feldman every day. It's why he's so successful as an account executive, because you can't not like the guy. I want to go ahead and give you the website for the Lake Worth Playhouse so you can track down any information you'd like there. And that is lakeworthplayhouse.org. That is lakeworthplayhouse.org. You can get the theater lineup. You can find out a little bit about what is happening there now and a bit about its history. And the phone number to learn more is 561-586-6410. 586-6410. So I know you can't see us, so this is a little theater of the mind here, but I'm going to go right through clockwise and introduce each person, and then we will talk one-on-one a bit and as a group, so let's just do whatever feels right. Daniel is the artistic director of the Lake Worth Playhouse. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Nice to see you here. Outstanding.
It's nice to be here.
And thank you for making your way in so early
My
on
pleasure.
This Sunday morning,
My
especially
pleasure.
after the shows that have been going on.
Yeah, we've been working hard as a team here. So.
And that happens. I know the kind of effort that goes into these things
Yes.
behind the scenes and in front of the audience as well.
Yes.
So we've got that going on. Eliza, what role are you playing?
I'm playing the role of Nancy.
Nancy, okay. And who is Nancy in this show? Anyone who doesn't know Oliver.
She's a rougher sort of young woman in 19th century London, and she's been working with Fagin and Bill Sykes, and just trying to make her way as one of the poor working class. So.
All right, so we've got Nancy. Now we have Cameron. Cameron, let's talk about your role in Oliver.
How's it going? My name is Cameron, and I play Bill Sykes in Oliver, and he is he's one of your ultimate villains, you could say.
Yes, he is.
He is one of Fagin's prodigies, kind of, and he's just one of those villains that have survived through it all and kind of makes him what he is today.
And, I noticed that Cameron is carrying a club today.
Yes.
Just kind of staying right in character as far
I'm
as
just
your
method,
flex go.
So,
yeah, I am going to be very careful what I say to Cameron over the course of the morning. Austin, joining us as well. Hello, Austin.
Hello, sir. How are you today?
I am outstanding. Thank you for asking. So, let's talk about your role in Oliver.
Sure. Well, as you've heard from the last two characters that you've briefly interviewed, it seems like everyone seems to relate to Fagin in some way or the other. He's kind of the character that's kind of the puppeteer of the entire thing. He's the one that takes in Oliver when Oliver's been cast out onto the streets, or I should say running away, and he's kind of the individual that, he's kind of a different kind of orphanage. He kind of makes his living off of the backs of children, teaching them to be a pickpocket, and he's the kind of individual that, kind of the villain that you kind of love to hate.
He's an anti-hero.
Exactly. That's exactly what he is.
Fagin is a classic anti-hero.
Absolutely.
And seems like it'd be a very fun role to play.
Sure.
And that brings me to my friend Steve Feldman, who is Mr. Bumble in this production of Oliver. Steve, good to see you again.
Nice to see you too.
So let's talk a bit about your role. And who's Mr. Bumble?
Mr. Bumble is the manager or the person who's in charge of the workhouse or orphanage where these orphans are, of which Oliver is one. And he and Oliver have a little bit of an interaction when Oliver asks him for more.
Yes.
And goes and tries to get rid of him because he's a terror and starts a lot of trouble. And he tries to sell him around town to anyone who might want to buy him for £3.
Well, okay.
And is that a spoiler alert here?
I think we're good on that. If I need more from you, I'll ask.
Okay.
I'm
ask
sorry.
for more.
I apologize for that.
Please, sir, do you want some more?
But I just could not resist. So we've got such an interesting cast here. And obviously the major roles are all covered here in the studio. Daniel, let's talk a bit about the production itself. What
Yes.
can people expect from this production of Oliver? When is it playing through, and how can people get in on this?
It runs through the 29th. Now, shows will be Thursday through Sunday. Thursday, you have an 8 p.m. show. Friday, an 8 p.m. show. Saturday, we offer 2 shows, a 2 p.m. matinee and an 8 p.m. evening show. And then Sunday, we have a 2 p.m. matinee. So that runs for 3 weekends starting Thursday, April 12th through the 29th.
Plenty of options for people
Yes.
who want to go to the show. You all have your working boots on for this, don't you?
Yes.
It's a good run.
Yeah.
It really is. That is quite a run for this
Yes,
show.
it is. It is.
But let's talk about the production itself.
Yes.
What's been the largest areas of effort, and what are you most proud of in this?
I'm actually most proud of the people sitting here at the table with me. As you mentioned, I took over as the artistic director almost a year ago.
Okay.
And what I found this year is that we have a lot of new, fresh talent that have never graced the Playhouse stage before.
Okay.
And that's abundant in this show with Eliza, Cameron, and Austin,
Right.
and Steve as well. They've never been to the Lake Worth Playhouse or performed there. So to see them come in and work as hard as they have and to bring their talents to our stage has been exciting to see.
I can tell you, I mean, I've seen how hard Steve has worked at this
Yes.
just here at Legends.
Yeah.
And it's really something, the dedication and the passion that
Yes.
I saw. And also, so early this morning, I'm already getting from this group of people.
Yes.
This is something that they really love. And how are you
Yes.
working to channel that into the production?
Well, you take the passion that they give us and you hope to channel it into the story and just try to highlight what they do best and accentuate it.
When it comes to moving forward,
Yes.
because like you said, you've been at the Lake Worth Playhouse for about a year at this point.
Yeah.
What is your vision? What would you like to bring out of the Lake Worth Playhouse and contribute to the community through it?
Well, I would like us to continue to be one of the leaders in the arts community in all of Palm Beach County and all really of South Florida. We offer so many different things for the community. We have outreach programs where we go out to the disadvantaged areas in the community and bring theater to them. We also have a robust education program. We do a few different styles of theater. We have our main stage fare, which is big musicals or popular comedies or maybe like an Agatha Christie murder mystery sort of show. And then we also have a black box theater where we do more independent, story-driven, character-driven plays. So it's just a variety and something for everybody in the community is what we try to provide.
I think the something for everyone aspect is
Yes.
really important because, arts programs, we've seen them cut in a lot of areas
Yes.
when it comes to the education system.
Right.
Let's talk about the importance of arts education and about that outreach when it comes to lifting the community as a whole.
Well, the importance of theater in the community is it gives people an outlet to express themselves, an outlet to tap into the arts. It provides maybe answers serious questions or delves into life situations, and we notice too with the little ones, even as young as 5 or 6 years old, it gives them an opportunity to work with others, to be open-minded, just practically with memorization skills and learning how to be a part of a team. I mean, theater can cross many boundaries and divides and sort of unite people and
It makes
make
me
people
think
feel
of two
good.
things. It really does. That makes me think of two things,
Yeah.
Daniel. One of them is that you're teaching life skills.
Yes.
It's beyond theater.
Right.
I mean, and then again, we're all storytellers in life, I think. It's
Yes.
kind of the way I like to look at it. But
Right.
you are teaching life skills, the importance of working, the importance of practicing, the importance of
Exactly.
mastering your material, working on the fundamentals.
Right.
and then building that into a life in terms of discipline, in terms
Yes.
of being on time, in terms of recognizing what your passions and your strengths are.
Exactly.
And to me, those are invaluable skills.
Yes.
That goes well beyond putting on a show is such an important thing, but that goes into living life.
Yes.
And so kudos to you on helping people to fulfill that vision and passing those skills on. But also, you'd mentioned kind of reaching out to underprivileged communities and so on. And
Yes.
you do hear stories about people who can grasp that opportunity.
Yes.
Who may never have been exposed to this and suddenly
Exactly.
discover and kindle a passion.
Exactly.
And I think that is so important. That's one of the reasons that all of us are in the entertainment industry that are in this room. And I think that's one that we're all cut from the same cloth in that way. And there was probably a time when not all of us knew that.
Right.
We were exposed to it at some point. And I think that that is what the theater programs like the ones at Lake Worth Playhouse can bring to the forefront.
Yes.
And create those opportunities. You can learn more, by the way, at lakeworthplayhouse.org. lakeworthplayhouse.org, or you can call 561-586-6410. If you're just tuning in, Mike McGann with you on Legends Community Focus. Happy South Florida Sunday morning. I am here with various, it's a pretty full studio here at Legends 100.3 because the production of Oliver is running now through, I believe, the 29th. There are so many options to see this show, and it's a classic story. I've got with me today not only Daniel, who is the artistic director of Lake Worth Playhouse and really has a pretty fantastic vision going forward, but other cast members from this production of Oliver. I've got Eliza, who is playing Nancy. I have got Cameron, who is playing Bill Sykes. I've got Austin, who is Fagin, and Steve, Mr. Bumble Feldman. I said all that right, didn't I?
Yes, very good.
Good, because I only took a few notes on this as we're going. And but it's so interesting to me because I love this whole experience. Now, Eliza, let's talk about theater and its importance in your life. What have you learned through your experiences at the Lake Worth Playhouse and in theater?
Sure. I think in the Lake Worth Playhouse specifically, I found that as I'm not from Florida, and so
Right.
I think I always sort of had it in my mind that I would only be able to do theater if I was at home and it was sort of convenient for me. And then I
Right.
came down and moved to Florida, and I found that you can really do theater anywhere, and you'll always find an opportunity, whether it's sometime down the road or even sometime soon. I think it's always an opportunity, and you can always find time for it. So I think a lot of people think that they can't be in a show, but you have to sort of, if you move around your priorities a little bit, you can take out a few months out of your year, and you could definitely do it. In terms of theater, in general, I find that theater is just one of the biggest parts of my life because it's one of the arts that I first started doing as a kid. And from that, I learned, I think I learned a lot of focus, and it's kind of interesting because it's an art based on emotion. It's not like based on, it's based on your senses and having to sort of focus in certain emotions to, express something that you want to get across to somebody, which I find really interesting. And I think it really builds character, and I think it betters you as a person because in real life you understand how to react to certain things, and you learn how to improvise in conversations.
Mm-hmm.
If you go into business, I think anybody who goes into business should be taking a theater class because it's all about acting and how people perceive you. And
It's a good point.
Yeah, and I think it just I think I like it for like all the internal
Sure.
advantages in that sort of
Well, there's a
that
lot
sort
of
of way.
There's a lot of psychology to it.
Yeah,
there really
yeah,
is.
exactly.
It's a craft
Exactly.
that is based upon psychology,
Yeah.
really, and an interaction
Yeah.
with the audience, which to me is always a fun part of
Yeah.
any kind of performing, is that give and take with it. So, Cameron, Bill Sykes
Yep.
is he's not somebody I would like to mess with as a character. I'm just waiting for Bill to put the club down here. Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you very much. So I know that was really cheesy, but there we go.
My bad.
But Cameron, let's talk about the performance as far as creating that emotion, as far as playing that dark, because you seem to me to be a pretty nice guy.
Yeah.
Like I'm chatting with you, you seem like a pretty relaxed dude,
Yeah, I'm pretty laid back.
And let's talk about the preparation, what you've learned, and getting into the character of Bill Sykes.
Yeah, I would say one of the fun things about playing a villain for me personally is, as you said, I don't come off as a villain in real life, but I think playing something that's the polar opposite of what you are is really fun in the sense that I mean, you're basically getting to live a different life, and you are getting to act a completely different way than you act in real life. But it's for Bill Sykes specifically. He's a very, very mean guy.
Yes.
Without giving away the show. But he's fun to play in the sense that like I said, you know, I don't act this way in real life. So
Right.
sometimes if I have any like bottled up anger or stress, and I get to get after it on stage,
Right.
and I get to just, you know, take it out on Nancy over here.
And I'll tell you, and that's an emotional story because I've seen the movie obviously, and then read the play when I was younger, and there's a scene that involves Bill Sykes that actually terrified me when I was younger.
Yeah.
And it actually that brought up things like domestic abuse.
Yes.
In my mind, this is a timeless story.
Yes.
It really is, because so many of the issues that are being talked about, 19th century issues, as Eliza mentioned, being a part of the working class, we still feel those same emotions. You know, a lot of us still face those exact same hurdles. And this play allows us on some level to deal with those in a modern context.
Absolutely.
And I think that that's a very, very strong statement. So, Austin, you are playing Fagin, who is he's kind of an anti-hero, the puppet master, really.
Sure.
Do you feel that the character of Fagin is misunderstood? Do you think that people understand the character? And how do you get people to relate to him?
Well, I like what you alluded to earlier about how theater really is a story, and how people in general were storytellers by nature. And so it's so important to identify. I mean, you look from the cave drawings back in the day to, modern theater and art and everything. We all have a story to tell, and it's important to decide and to realize within yourself as an actor, what is the part that I have to play in this story? And when you look at Fagin and his part and his character, you're right. So many people, they see him as a villain, but they say, for some reason, I like Fagin. And why is that? And I think many of the reasons why people identify with Fagin is because he's in a position in life where it's all he's known. And he's learned how to make a living. He's learned how to have a job, in quotation marks there.
Such as it is, yes.
Right. He trains people. He's like a manager of sorts. He has position and status, but it's in a position and status where he feels like he's locked in a certain caste. And if you look at Charles Dickens and why he wrote his stories and what he specifically liked to focus on, it was about the castes, the classes, the higher class, the middle class, the lower class, children, how children are affected. And Fagin kind of has his fingers. That's why I kind of like to refer to him as the puppet master, because he kind of has his fingers in all those pies.
Right.
And he kind of he has interactions with the upper class, but he also focuses in on the children, and he's kind of stuck in the middle, and he's kind of a conflicted individual.
Sure.
And that's why people sometimes don't understand the character of Fagin so much, because in the play he doesn't even really understand himself.
Right.
And there's an entire song dedicated to that called Reviewing the Situation, where he talks about his wanting to become a new man, become a new person, turn over a new leaf, and yet there's so much conflict and excuses. And I feel like we all make those excuses in the decisions that we make from day to day.
I feel like, talking about the timelessness of the show, you just put that in such a cool context that applies to today in a big way, because we're all trying to move forward, but we also tend to define ourselves by our differences instead of saying, let's come together on things. Yeah. I think we're all that conflicted. Are we this individual trying to make our way? Are we part of a group? I would choose the individual one personally, but that's just me. But, I think that's, again, it's kind of an encapsulation of a conflict that most of us feel every day. And you're bringing that and dealing with it on the stage.
Right. We all feel trapped in our own ways. And,
we do.
And that's what a lot of this is about. It's about people who are trapped.
Yes.
Trapped in the workhouse, trapped in a life of, of murder, trapped in a life of, doing other unpleasantries, that may come about, or things that we feel like we have to do. And it's about, trying to escape from the life that we're in, but also learning to enjoy it. Oliver is kind of a flip-sided coin, and it's a two-sided coin. There's a lot of fun to it. There's a lot of darker elements to it. It's very true to life.
Yeah, it certainly is. And you mentioned the thing about storytelling as well, and I think that that's so important, being natural storytellers. And it ties into life skills, because when you're telling a story on stage, and I do audio editing, I write commercial copy here, I'm on the air here, every single thing is telling a story and telling it in a certain way. Learning to tell those stories, learning to channel what you need to put forward to your given audience is something that you learn when you're learning theater, and it's applicable to pretty much every life situation. What's the story about life that you are going to tell your child? so that they can grow up into the person that they can be? What's the story that you are trying to tell that attractive person you see across the bar? Everything is storytelling. And that's one of the reasons I think it is so important to maintain and preserve the art. We're going to talk in just a moment about what's on the horizon at the Lake Worth Playhouse in terms of future productions. And again, we'll get into the dates of the show and how you can buy tickets. LakeWorthPlayhouse.org is the website, LakeWorthPlayhouse.org. Or you can call 561-586-6410. I want to talk to Mr. Steve Feldman again one more time. Steve, I want to talk about the work involved in this because obviously I know you. I work with you every day here at Legends Radio, except for Sundays, so it's a rare pleasure to see you. I know how hard you work here at Legends Radio, and I know how hard you're working when you're not here on the production of Oliver. How have you made all that work? It's taken a lot of dedication.
Well, it's a state of mind, I think. Just working, 8 hours a day here at Legends, as I usually do, there's a lot of ups and downs, a lot of emotion, a lot of physical situations, and you run the gamut as most jobs. And for the past couple of weeks, I've just trained myself not to let that bother me, and because of my love of the theater, wanting to go every night for 3 or 4 hours and rehearse and learn and work with fellow actors and make a good job at making sure the story is told, and being privileged to be one of the characters to be able to express that. And it's just the idea that I enjoy the reward of doing as best a job as I can to help to get the story across in the way that it has been written and asked us to do so by the director, and make people enjoy it and be entertaining.
It's a labor of love. I mean, you were talking
about... It's adrenaline, which is really, I guess, if you want to sum it in one word.
Yeah. Well, you're going to have quite the adrenaline crash at the end of the run, Steve. We'll do what we can here for you at Legends Radio. I'll make sure I brew the coffee extra strong in the morning for you.
Bring that Cuban coffee in.
Yes, exactly. I got to make a ritual run. We'll do one Monday. So before we wrap up, and time does fly by here on Legends Community Focus, Daniel, there are 2 more things I want to cover with you. Artistic director of the Lake Worth Playhouse.
Yes.
I want to talk a little bit about what's coming down the line. What productions are on the way that people can enjoy at the Lake Worth Playhouse over the months to come?
This is actually the last production of our 65th season of live
65
theater.
seasons.
65 seasons.
What a legacy.
Yes, and we're going to kick off our 66th season unofficially. We do a summer show every season as well, and we sort of unofficially kick off our season with that. But the next show we have on our main stage is in July, and it's Flashdance the Musical.
Really?
Yes.
Off
Every
the shoulder
summer
styles.
we like to do a. We have a lot of, like I said, our education program. We have a lot of kids that'll come through our program and then go off. Some of them go off to performing arts schools and different universities. We like to try to have something for them when they come back. We like to have something that's sort of based in an era, whether it be the 70s, the 80s. We did Saturday Night Fever last season.
Oh, wow.
So we're going to do Flashdance, live band, high energy. We try to do that in the summer. Then we're going to kick off our season officially in October with Mel Brooks's Young Frankenstein the Musical.
I love that
We're going to
show.
follow up that in November with Neil Simon's Barefoot in the Park. In January, we have Camelot, a Lerner and Lowe classic musical. Then we're going to go with Wait Until Dark by a playwright named Frederick Knott.
Now,
in
wait.
February.
Is Wait Until Dark?
Yes.
Is that the same one as that amazing movie?
Yes, with Audrey Hepburn.
Audrey Hepburn
Yes.
and Alan Arkin.
Yes.
In that performance as Harry
Yes,
Roat Jr.,
Harry Roat, yep.
one of the really terrifying villains of Scream.
And I saw that production of Wait Until Dark when I was in my late teens, early
Right.
20s, and it's what really inspired me to get into theater.
I can see why. That
It was
story
one of
is
those
fantastic.
visceral moments you have as an audience
It
member
really
where
is.
it's like, I want to do that.
Oh,
you know?
yeah. I literally
Yeah.
have goosebumps right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm thinking about that story. Wow, I'm going to that show.
And then we close our season out in next April, a year from now,
Sure.
with Sweet Charity.
Wow.
So that's the season we have lined up for next year. And then we also have special events that we have. We have, like I said, Black Box Theater. We have a Never Be Dark policy at the Playhouse.
Okay.
We have an independent movie house there as well.
Right.
So we always have something going on. But as far as our main stage fare, that's what we have coming up.
It's
next
never
season.
dark except for that one scene with all the light bulbs.
Yes.
Until dark.
Yes. Right.
But what a cross section. That's such
Yes.
there really is something for everybody coming to the
Exactly.
Lake Worth Playhouse.
Exactly.
Again, lakeworthplayhouse.org is the website. And just quickly, how can people help when it comes to volunteering, when it comes to donations? I know the Lake Worth Playhouse is a 501c3. It's a
Yes.
nonprofit. How can people help the Lake Worth Playhouse on its mission to preserve this craft?
Well, we're volunteer-based.
Okay.
You could come and usher. You could work backstage. You could work. We have professionals that will also train you. We have we'll have a sound designer and lighting designer come in and design the show, but then we have volunteers that actually run the boards.
Okay.
We have volunteers that make up our backstage staff as well. You could donate to us if you would like to forward our mission. You can go to our website and look at our donation page. Or you could just buy a ticket and be a patron. That supports us as well.
Go and see the show.
Go and see the show.
Have a great time. You're
Yes.
going to get a return on your investment immediately.
Exactly.
By doing it that way.
Yes.
So if you would like to help, whether it is through donations, whether it is through volunteering, visit the website, which is lakeworthplayhouse.org. Help to support this local theater. Legend loves the arts. I know you love the arts. And the Lake Worth Playhouse and everyone in this room obviously loves the arts too. So kudos to you all. And thank you so much for
Thank you
coming
so
in.
much.
Thank you.
I mean, it's been a wonderful, wonderful program. And now I want to audition. So you may see me show up one of these days.
Great.
Mike McGann with you on Legends Community Focus right here on Legends 100.3. Happy South Florida Sunday morning. Thank you so much for joining me. The website again, lakeworthplayhouse.org. The phone number 561-586-6410. Oliver is playing through the 29th. There are evening shows, there are matinees. There's a ton of opportunity for you to see the show. I'm excited to see it in a couple of weeks. So, hey, I will see you all there. Daniel, Eliza, Cameron, Austin, and Mr. Steve Feldman, thank you all so much for coming in.
Thank you
Thank
so much.
you
so much.
Thanks for having us.
Have a wonderful day. Stick around. Lots more legendary programming on the way on our South Florida Sunday morning.